There we go. All right. If you're a patron member, this is not live, but nonetheless, we're going to upload it into the back end of your patron accounts, and you're going to get this months and months, probably about 3 or 4 before everybody else. So we're just coming off the back of a live one. But nonetheless, within a day, I usually, we're recording another one, but I'll upload it into your patron account so you can have access. It's one of the many benefits we're always constantly trying to give you guys. So we'll dive in here. Oh, yeah. Once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to LAB-254-Sturgis. Get hooked up now. And I think, in fact, in this episode, we've got Popeye here, Sturgis Jeff, but I think Popeye is going to talk about that a little bit because he just went on a trip. That's part of this episode. And then a little bit about Jeff's retirement. But Popeye, getting back to that, was using the Rick Rack system in Montana, correct?
That's right. About 1,500 miles worth.
Nice. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and a whole bunch of other crazy biker talk. Want to ride longer? Tired of a sore and achy ass? Then fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full lineup of butt buffer seat cushions. Oh, what do we got here? Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson, a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Goldstrike, top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Goldstrike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. That's right. Check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Dive into this bad boy.
Let's get into it.
This is a great episode because it's nothing but just kicking back, having a few beverages, and this is just a biker talk episode. Who knows where it will go? We got some general ideas. We'll get lost. We'll get lost. Guaranteed. We'll get totally off track. Jeff and Popeye, Sturgis Jeff and Popeye will argue at some point, and then, yeah, Jeff will have to correct Popeye. And
something will pop up.
Yeah. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%ers, baby.
Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. By being here, by listening to this very podcast, you're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
We do have just one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Mount up.
Let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
There you go. Welcome, guys. Ryan Urlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
There he is. Popeye.
Here I am.
Episode number 2 tonight. And he and the infamous Sturgis Jeff taking up a mic here tonight. Thanks for being here, guys. These guys rode down to be here. We just did a live episode, and then we're going to do a recorded one here. But we had a nice dinner in between. Cooked up some carne asada.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah, I'm in a food coma.
Yeah.
Straight up in a food coma. Oh, that song is the best. You'll play that the whole episode. But
do we remember how did it get that as a theme song? I don't remember.
I don't either. Okay. But I made that shit up at some point.
Hey, but I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it, so
I know.
It works for me.
It fits well for you, yeah.
I just don't remember exactly what the connection is, but it's okay.
I wished I could.
Probably because it's an old song.
I bet it had something to do with Old Man. Yeah, Old Man River. I'm sure that's how it came up, yeah.
Is that how it is?
I think I picked a good song for you there.
Fighting at the OK Corral.
One for Popeye. Into the episode, 2 minutes. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. A couple announcements up front you want to stay tuned for. But basically, the two topics we're going to try to cover is Sturgis Jeff here in the house is retired as a career Leo, a law enforcement officer. He has been rubbing it in every chance he gets. So I want to talk to him a little bit about that. And it's definitely related to motorcycles because he's probably got some more time and things like that. He did get a new bike. I want to talk about that. And then Popeye recently, as you heard up front there, took a long trip through Montana. So I want to dive into that. And then wherever else that this episode goes. New free video really quick that I want to announce. It's been out for quite some time, actually. I want to do some more of these. It's just been buried with other videos, but to get out on the police motorcycle course and give you guys an idea of some of the patterns and how we set them up and what we do, because I know a lot of you have asked for the specs on a lot of those patterns so you can practice yourself to make yourself a better, safer rider. This one specifically was the Chaser is what I named it. It's a brand new pattern that I made up and did a complete video on it. And again, if you go to it, the specs are there for it, and the video kind of shows you how you should run that and why I set it up the way that it is set up. It's a fun pattern. So lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode number this is. I'll leave a link to this new free video in there. Of course, anytime you can head over to the YouTube channel. There's a search bar there, or just search the website for police patterns or whatever. Any videos I've done or anytime I've talked about that subject, you'll get awesome search results. Now, we love Zero 3D. We love Rick Rack, our sponsors up front, but these very people are also a sponsor of this episode and all episodes. They're some of our newest beloved patron members.
We'd like to thank Randy Clower of Vernal, Utah, Nancy Smith of Pomeroy, Washington, and Mickey Campbell of Elliott Lake, Ontario, Canada. Go ahead, Sturgis.
Thanks to Kevin Lloyd of Greenwood, Indiana, Rick Bend of Rapid City, South Dakota,
Top tier.
and Robert Reinhardt of Plainfield, Indiana.
Nice. Finishing up, Michael Vandermeer of Long Beach, California, Cindy Arroyo of River Grove, Illinois, top tier, Peter McNeil of Toronto, Ontario. Of course, love our Canadian members up there, always getting more of those.
Who's the one from Vernal? Back up there? From Vernal, Utah?
Oh, Randy Clower.
Yeah, that's a cool ride.
Is it?
Yeah.
Haven't done that one, I don't think.
Went up from, came outside of Grand Junction and then shot right straight up. And then
So Grand Junction, because we've been through Grand Junction, but I don't think we've ever. That must have been a trip on your own.
You go. Well, yeah.
Okay.
That one the wife and I made.
Oh, okay.
We made up and then we stopped and we stayed in Vernal. As a matter of fact, they got that dinosaur museum right outside of it, and it was just a ride that we wanted to make. I can't remember the name of the highway that goes up, but it's west of Grand Junction and it shoots north. Nice, very nice ride, and it comes up and then you turn west and it goes right down into Vernal. We got a nice Harley dealership there, and it's a cool place.
See, there's still places we haven't been.
Oh, yeah.
Nice
Plenty.
riding. Nice riding up there.
So, how many years? Let's talk about this retirement thing, because you're rubbing it in every chance you get.
Absolutely.
Career Leo, how many years did you put in?
When I retired in last November, I had 35.5 years.
I'm 38.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's 35 and a half.
Starting out right.
35 and a half years, yeah.
dang. Why'd you go so long? Why didn't you pull it sooner? You could have pulled it at 30, right?
I could have, sure. It was all about the numbers, you know, and when I started at age 25. And so when I reached age 55, I didn't want to quit. I mean, that was when I reached 30, which is just kind of the marker that many people use. But, you know, my wife was still working, of course, 'cause she was in career number 2. She's a nurse now, and she had a retirement in the door from our office, 25 years.
That's right. Yeah.
And, I wasn't ready to quit. I didn't want to quit. I still wanted to keep working and that was basically the only reason. It wasn't a financial and needed to do it. Needed the healthcare because she has, you know, healthcare, which is what I'm on currently.
Yeah.
So we had all those bases already covered. I just wasn't ready to go.
So,
And the other thing about that is that, boy, for your last 10 years, probably working the night shift.
Yeah.
He was my sergeant for, you know, a lot of years. And so he was a senior sergeant. He could have went to any shift he wanted to and continued to come out and work the night shift. Just had more fun doing that. Even when he was one of the administrators in our department for a lot of years. And when he was doing that spot, still stayed current with all of his, you know, a lot of guys let like their DUI, their breath test, you know, go, because they're not going to be doing any of that stuff. And always heard he kept all that stuff current, still went in, still got certified, and made sure he'd be able to go out and do it and tell the troops that he still had it.
that's nice.
Don't see a lot of guys like that.
No.
And there were some numbers involved, you know, as far as differentials and as far as longevity and as far as final your salary with the state's retirement system, which, you know, their goals that I had set. But, you know, if I had anywhere within that time frame said I've had enough of this, I could have gone. And so that coupled with the fact that, I didn't want to leave. I wasn't tired of the job at all. And by the time that those numbers did roll around and that time did come around, I was at the point where I didn't want to do the job anymore, but it wasn't because I was disgruntled. I just, I was 61 years old.
Dang, man.
And so it was, it was just time to go for a variety of reasons, not having to do with anything about that being tired of the job, sick of the job. None of that came into play at all, ever, within there. But, some things that happened, and calls that we'd gone to and whatnot, where your age just kind of comes to the forefront and say, hey, you don't want to be the guy that stays one day too long.
Right.
And that comes into play, later on. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But by the time that that day came, I came just because that's the number that I chose, and I made it that far. I was happy up until that point, and it was time to go. It was that simple for me, anyway.
Yeah, and I think with your generation of Leo, people stayed generally longer. Nowadays, everybody, for the most part, is leaving when they can.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a different, is that fair to say? Because I see all our guys that were kind of your generation all put in. We had some guys put in just as many years as you, if not a few more.
It is, and it depends. If you have a, what should I say, side job.
Right.
Or a side skill.
Something
or something like
lined
that
up.
that you could go into, which I did not. I wanted to, when
Tech
I reached
support.
Gigolo thing wasn't working out for you? The gigolo thing?
No, flopped.
Flopped.
Literally
Day
flopped.
one.
Yeah. But, I didn't have any of that. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to quit early and go into something else or go look for something else. Just like I told Lee earlier, it's just, for me, it was one and done. Everything that I'd read up on, I did a lot of research, as far as when I started to close in on it about, what people do and what are suggestions that you do and whatnot. And the one that struck me the most was, when you're done, no matter when that turns out to be, you take 1 year and don't do anything. Don't do anything at all. Nothing. Zero. And just kind of see how that works for you.
For your personality.
It might drive you crazy. There might be something that comes up that says, I want to do this, and so I'm still within that time frame. So, the doing nothing part for me is working out pretty good.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't for everybody.
No, it
I know
doesn't.
a lot that like a month they're nuts.
And I don't mean, it's get up out of bed and go to the couch. It's not
right.
It's not like that.
You're a busy man. You got hobbies.
Yeah. And I've got, the two of our grandkids are there in town. And so, and they're preschool age. And so, I can go get them anytime I want. And, those sorts of things. There's always one thing, no matter how minuscule the task, there's always one or two things to do during the day.
To keep you busy for that day, yeah.
Yeah. And so, real quick, I don't want to belabor, but
it's fine.
When my dad retired, he's been gone about 3-4 years now. And so, but when he retired, he was younger than I was. He was like 56 years old. And he never worked again. And it wasn't too long, maybe a year or so before he died, I asked him, because he was like 81. He had been retired almost as long as he had actually worked. And I said, didn't all this time drive you crazy? And he looked me square in the eye and he said, absolutely not. And he said, it's the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
And so I'm not trying to emulate that just because my dad said so, but I can, up until now, I can certainly see his point.
Yeah, and you'll know.
Yeah.
Everybody's personality, you'll know if you're going nuts. And if you're not, that's really cool,
But, the flip side is for the guys that, in certain agencies and whatnot that will retire as soon as they reach a certain point. It's very common for them to 25 and out or whatnot. Well, these are guys that might be only in their late 40s, early 50s. And most of the time they have to have something lined up.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Before they go. So it's just, it's just out one door and in the other. And off they go again, full time, with all the full-time hassles and whatnot, being the bottom of the totem pole, wherever it was that they went to and whatnot. I wasn't interested in that at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And so, and like I said, working with Lee all those years and all the guys I worked with on night shift, that has a lot to do with the fact that you still want to stick around. Because if you
even with Lee, I thought that would have made you want to leave.
Even with Lee, yeah. even with Lee, yeah. So, that makes that sort of decision, a lot easier.
Right.
So it had nothing to do with the office. It had nothing to do with who I was working with. Certain things happened, in incidents that when I was closed in on that time, just said, hey, you need to go.
Right.
And so, I picked the date, and when that date came, that was it. Like I said before, it was that simple for me.
At least you recognized it, because like you say, a lot of guys don't.
Yeah.
And Popeye knows that. You see some guys, you're like, no, you needed to make that decision like 3 years ago. So good on you. There does come a point, I don't want to get deep into that, but, where working longer is actually counterproductive financially if you do all those numbers. And clearly you did all that, because we've had some guys work here like, you're losing money now, bro. Yeah. You're actually losing yourself money, right?
40 years.
Yeah. You're like, dude, you're just working for nothing. And I won't get into the calculations of that, but the longevity of life and how you're going to pull retirement, right? You did all that.
I did all that. And, I was, the night shift had the differentials.
Differential pay.
I had all kinds of differentials. I was a supervisor, which, gave me the highest level of longevity. Plus there was a lot of overtime available, and I signed up for a lot of it. So, just working the day-to-day stuff. Yeah, you're right. It would have caught up, and I would have been spinning my wheels. But there was the opportunities to extend your final average salary, with the state retirement system.
Yep.
And so as long as that was available and as long as I could get it, I just kept going with it. And if somewhere short of the time where I actually left, if that had been a matter where it wasn't available, I probably would have rethought it. But as long as I could continue to build the final average salary, which helps in my goal of saying, okay, when I'm done, I'm done.
Right.
One and done. And like I said, early 60s, a lot of people would have kept going or found something else or whatnot. But I knew when I stopped, could something pop up sometime? Maybe. But I had no intention of it. And I still don't.
Right.
That might change. Who knows? But, I don't feel any pressure.
Right. That's nice.
Of having to go out and find something else. That pressure's not there because that's the way that I intended it to.
Mm-hmm.
The final average salary, as far as my check from DRS, it works just fine.
Yeah, that's good.
And I've still got Social Security age to come up on. And
right.
And I don't know what I'm going to do with
and
that.
probably investments and deferred comp that's going to kick in at some point, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then my wife is still working. Not
sugar mama.
We both.
Jeff, he's got it figured out.
Yeah. We both wish that we could work something out, but it's to make, like I said, it's career number 2 for her. So to make all that work worthwhile, going to school and whatnot.
You got to get vested and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So she'll have to put in another 4.5 years or whatnot. And then when she's done, definitely, if something happens for me as far as something I want to do, by the time that she's retired, we're both going to be done.
Yeah.
Because, Lee and I were talking briefly here earlier that, you see things that you want to do that for whatever reason, as, life goes on with kids and whatnot, that you weren't able to do or you just didn't do for whatever reason or whatnot. Eventually there's going to come a time when you won't be able to.
Uh-huh.
And so that's one of the reasons why, the one and done thing for me that, when those opportunities present themselves, you want to be able to do it, nothing in the way. And so that's still to come. But, if one or both of us are still working, then, it's like it was 10, 20 years ago. You couldn't even really make it,
right.
You couldn't really think about doing it. Well, we want to get all that out of the way because, eventually, like I said, there comes a time when, for whatever reason, you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, well said. And with one other working, you only have, she only has so much vacation time and you're still kind of, dealing with that too. So here's the question I pose to you. Deep thoughts. Sturgis Jeff right now has 30 years on with, you're still employed as a law enforcement officer and you got 30 years right now. And you have this plan of going for this 35, you still do, but you see what's going on in the world today. Do you walk or do you say, I'm going to pull it without getting political? Do you walk or do you go, I'm going to stick this shit out another 5 because that was my plan? Or would you actually have walked? Good question, huh, Popeye?
Oh yeah,
it is a good question. But for me, actually, when you look at what's going on, you use the old adage when the smoke clears. Well, the smoke's still there.
Yeah, right.
They're still attacking. And I don't mean physically attacking,
right,
which is unfortunately still going on. But as far as the defunding and all this kind of stuff has not really come to play really anywhere. Everybody's threatening it.
So it's a smoke show right now.
It's a smoke show right now as far as the liability insurance that they want, or the
malpractice, basically.
Yeah, the malpractice sort
whatever
of stuff.
you want to call it. Yeah,
the immunity and those sorts of things. If they get the qualified immunity anyway, And I was at 30 years, and they took that away somehow, some way.
Right.
Like if Joe Biden was nothing, I don't know. I'd go.
Not to get political.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's right.
I would not.
A little bit.
Yeah, that I would not. If those things came into play, the defunding, and
if they actually came to fruition,
we totally had to reroute the types of things that that the far left is talking about. Then if I was close to retirement, I'd go in a heartbeat. And even that said, if I was thinking about getting into the business, or if I was into it for a very short time, I'd find something else.
Yeah, right.
I would never, ever, ever even remotely think about doing this job without the immunity.
Yeah, right. Good call.
Yeah.
That's an interesting answer. I'm glad you answered that very honestly.
I think the one thing, qualified immunity is obviously huge for guys, and you'd see a lot of guys walk out the door tomorrow.
Correct.
There to get rid of that.
Guys can't
but the
afford
other thing is
malpractice
like we were
insurance,
also but the other thing we were talking about earlier is our area so far has been fairly well insulated from a lot of the garbage.
Most of the U.S.'s.
Yeah, most of the
very
U.S.'s.
isolated big cities. The rest of America lives on.
Exactly.
Business as usual.
And that's what's on the news all the time, though, is
exactly
what's going on in the big cities. But yeah, like you said, otherwise the rest of America, for the most part, just keeps on trucking along like it always is.
Yep, our community's great. Been great.
You're looking at the, without it, you're looking at the pain and suffering over a parking ticket. It'd be the ridiculous shit would really come to the surface.
Right.
Without the qualified immunity.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with, we're free to go out and do whatever we want as a result of it.
Never has been that way,
how ridiculous it would become if you had to go out and get your own liability insurance to cover civil matters and whatnot.
Yep.
No.
Trying to sue you for everything left and right all the time.
I wouldn't even think about it. And that's the problem, if it comes to fruition, is the guys that are vested, in the middle.
Oh, right.
The 15, 20 years or whatnot.
Me.
Yeah. You guys. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That would be a tough place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Okay, so you retire. It's been pretty good because you're riding something new. What did we get ourselves into? I missed the nuclear banana bike.
Hold on here before we get into that even.
Okay.
So what to his bikes? We'll get into what his bike is, but it's a 19, and for multiple years, he was always telling me, I'm not getting, this will be the last bike I get. Not getting another one. When the motor blows on this, I'll put a new motor in it.
I remember him saying this too on a couple trips.
Oh yeah.
I'm
so
just
forever.
Confirming.
Not getting rid of it, keeping it. And then he shows up with this thing one day, and I went over to his house to go look at it, and I go, what the hell happened? You told me you weren't getting another bike. Well, and then what was funnier than shit is because probably a couple months later, month or two later, I showed up with one, and he's like, well, what the hell? You told me you weren't doing it for a couple of years, Well, shit. I go, so did you.
Shit happened on the Grand Canyon trip. It was unexpected.
I'll tell you a quick story how it happened.
It's beautiful.
It was unintentional. It's a 2019 CVO Limited.
Oh, tell me what color that is.
It's God.
You got to see it. It's like I don't know what they call it.
Like a gunmetal silver thing or something.
Yeah, it's a two-tone.
It's beautiful.
But, and I'd have to look it up to see exactly what the color is that they call it, because they've all got the funky color.
Right.
Doesn't glow in the dark though.
Nuclear banana.
Nuclear banana.
Right.
Yeah. But, I do the poker chips.
Yeah, right.
And
the dealership chips.
I do the dealership chips, but it has to be dealerships that I've gone to. Otherwise, everybody will be giving you chips everywhere they go, and pretty soon you got a whole.
I give him one every time I come to
You
Hawaii.
didn't earn them.
Just to screw with him now because I know
Matt tried to give you one, and Matt said he will not take them unless he's been there. Or I think Matt was telling me that.
He won't put them out with his collection. I give them to him all the time.
But anyway, the wife and I were going to go over to the Seattle area and get chips from the dealerships that we'd been to before, but we hadn't gotten. So we were just going to go do that. So we were going to take a trip. We were going to go over to Chinook. And we went over Chinook June freaking 2nd. It was snowing up there.
Yeah. It was hard to get into summer this year.
Yeah. And so we went over the top and we stayed in Enumclaw. And the first place we hit was Jet City in Renton. And long story short, they were doing a
Jet City HD, right? Yeah, the dealership.
Yeah, in Renton. They were doing a promo there that I think other dealerships have done where they give you X percentage of above Blue Book. And I happened to know, I was on the Nuclear Banana, and I happened to know what Blue Book said on the thing. So they quoted me a trade-in value, and I had almost 62,000 miles on the thing.
62.
Oh, 62,000.
With a rebuilt motor.
No.
You
I had the rods and lifters.
Oh, just rods and lifters, that's right.
And I put in that high horsepower cam.
Oh, that's right.
At the same time. But anyway, 62,000 miles on the bike, and I knew what it Blue Booked for, and they were, so... and I had the Springer at home, which was also CVO. That was 2009. And I loved that bike. But in order to do this, I had to,
So you traded in the Springer too?
I traded in both of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to.
Okay. So
If I wanted that bike, I had to.
What year was the Ultra Limited? The Nuclear Banana?
12.
12.
So a 12, you traded in a 12 Ultra Limited, and then you...
An 09 CVO.
CVO. Springer. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you traded that one in. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I get it.
There was no way without trading it in that I could get this one.
Well, like you said too, is the Ultra is much more conducive of your style of riding, to where most time when we hop on a bike, we're not going down to the bar. We're
Right. Like my bar hoppers, they pretty much sit here. I run up the canyon to keep them running every now and then, but I really want to go on my street glide.
Half the time we get on a bike, it's going at least 50 miles, if not well over that.
Or if I want to run to the store get beer, I need the saddlebags.
Right.
Yeah. And that Springer was a beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
But I mean, I rode it one day I had it for a couple of years. And one day I rode it for 150 miles, just beat the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. So, it was literally a bar bike.
Oh yeah. These would beat the shit out of you too. These ones.
That's a lot of engine on those frames. And so I loved it. I mean, I really did love it. But when you look at this one and like we talked about before, we're long, we like put a lot of miles in. Mm-hmm. We do some long trips. The one that I had, the big bagger, was, it's seen its best days. And so this one here with the 117, and it's got the Milwaukee 8, and it's got the counterbalance and whatnot. And the ride is just so
night and day from the 12.
That 12 because you were to the new one is crazy different.
The ride on those things is just so.
You were on a pre-Rushmore still.
Yeah. All I'd done to it is actually out the gate, I put on 4.5-inch Reiner slip-ons, which made it basically a stage 1, and I haven't done anything to it since, except for a little bit. The paint.
Suspension. You did suspension.
Oh, the suspension. Well, that's another story. But yeah, I did do that. But it was just something that sort of.
What is that story?
Well, we actually
now that you mentioned it, I'm curious now.
got to Sturgis.
Last year.
It was last year. Mm-hmm. Got there, super hot day, and we stay at a house right downtown. And bikes all over the place, of course, and then bikes pulling out around the house and whatnot. So I stopped, and it's the road angles off down towards the gutter, whatnot. Well, it was hot. I was tired, and the bike was fully loaded up. The wife was on hers, and so
I'm recollecting a little bit.
As I was trying to
see where the story's going.
As I was trying to back it into the gutter, I rolled it over, not crashed or anything, just rolled it over the bar. It was too heavy. I was tired. It was too heavy.
Been there.
Then a day or two later, the wife and I both jumped on it, 2 up, and we got into another situation at an intersection where the angle was such that, and I rolled it over onto the bar again. These weren't crashes or anything.
No, you're just laying it over.
That's what they're for. Laying it over. It was just too heavy. And so we went over to Rapid City the day after.
Over to Black Hills Harley?
Yep. And I pulled into the tent for... well, long story short, I got the progressive 944s, and I get the monotube for the front end too, lowered an inch. And for me, it's been. Did
they do the fronts right there?
Yeah.
They
did everything right there. I just said, do everything. I need this thing lowered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that's I just got the 944s on the back and the monotubes on the front, and it just lowered it. Just lowered it an inch, and now I can stick my feet out wide and flat, and that's what I needed. Because we talked about this just a little ago. You get older.
Yep.
That's a 900 and
things start failing.
950-pound bike.
Oh, loaded with luggage over 1,000. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we were 2 up on it. And whatnot.
Yeah.
So eventually that becomes a chore.
Yep.
And so I needed to lower it, and so that was not a planned thing, but I wanted to get if I was going to do it, I wanted to get a good suspension system. So I knew Progressive had those, and so they were right there, more than willing to do it. Of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And so, you get the Sturgis deals out of it, if you could have brought it back here and done it for a lot cheaper, sure. But, I'd done it twice within 2 days.
Yeah, right.
And so, it just looked to me like, it was time for me to make sure that I could control this thing. And so I lowered it right there.
Good.
But that was, like I said, that wasn't something I'd planned on doing. It just became pretty evident that, for the control of it, best control that I could get.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I was carrying on it then.
Why did you go with the, instead of a non-CVO, why'd you go with the CVO? because I'm torn about CVOs personally, just because of the amount of emails we get here at Lab on people frustrated with, because they're trying to work on their CVOs and it doesn't follow a lot of the guides. It doesn't follow a lot because it's custom vehicle operations. They do all kinds of weird shit with wiring and handlebars, which is fine.
Yeah.
But we get a lot of frustrated people. I'm like, and I have to just tell them on email, I'm like, I can't help you with that because it's a CVO and they don't put out exact guides on the CVO. So I don't know why you have 14 different wires than what we have. I don't know.
It's actually even worse than that.
Okay.
They just basically almost just assign one person back there in York,
right,
to build this bike, including the paint. So when I trashed that, the Springer on that little mishap of mine, the tank and the paint had to come right from the factory.
Yep.
It wasn't a matter where they could call it. You could not get back to them and say, hey, what is the color? They won't do it. And so that's the thing about the CVO, that they just treat them like this
one-off
personal project.
Yep. Custom vehicle operations.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when you're talking about the handlebars on those things, if you want to switch out the bars, I'll never forget this one tech friend of mine who's been doing it for 4 decades now. As far as the CVO is concerned, I talked to him about the bars and what it would take and whatnot. He says, I'll tell you this much. He says, I don't know how they get the wiring that they have in there through it just to get it off the floor, let alone wanting to tear that down and redo it.
No, they hate them. Mechanics don't like those.
The idea behind the CVO is that
you get it, you leave it.
It has everything that you would want on a bike. That doesn't necessarily ring true with everybody. I mean, there's things that I've already done the suspension on.
Right. But generally speaking, it's set up the way you want it.
Yeah. But, this is a dual cooled engine, a 117.
I heard your fan going off today. Yeah. It's like a Japanese bike out there.
It's got,
which is fine.
I put slip-ons on it, which, basically makes it breathe better. So it's a stage one. And, but I'm not going to think about doing anything as far as a full exhaust system until the warranty's done for reasons that you've talked about many times.
Yep.
I can see maybe doing a full system and cams, and that's probably the most I'd ever do to that engine. But it would have to be off the warranty in order to do that. But it's a question you might be able to answer for me, because I did do that. I
did you buy it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God,
I did.
Jeff.
The extended warranty, I did.
The ESP, man.
But the thing about that is that, correct me if I'm wrong, I can do what I want with the bike if I've got that extended warranty on it, because I'm paying for it.
No.
Fake news.
Fake news?
As long they won't, the same rules apply right now with the manufacturer's warranty as your extended service plan. So if you go F with the fuel and EFI tuning and all that, it's the same rules. They're going to void your ESP, your extended service plan. They're going to
refund me?
No, they will not refund you. They will.
Really? Well, we may have to visit that, but
this is why people are pissed about this whole deal.
Yeah,
which was why I just personally won't get another one, just because. But I get why some people want to. If you're not going to touch your bike at all, then go for it.
And so far,
but they make a shitload of money off those warranties.
They do.
Car manufacturers, they are running to the bank laughing on warranties. Yeah.
But the Screaming Eagle, the two techs that I know personally, neither one of them like them.
Right.
Just because they're just not user friendly.
No, they get into them and they literally can't, because they don't follow the service manual. They're like, okay, all the wires are here except these 10, and they don't know. And they have to just go from scratch and try to figure out what they go to. Yeah, it's tough.
So, they already have a high performance cam in it, and I couldn't even find out exactly what it was.
Is that right?
So, but, I put a different cam in the Nuclear Banana, which was a horsepower cam, better horsepower, because we don't ride too up much anymore.
Okay, right.
So, I don't need a cam that's good, that's heavy on the torque. So I did it on the other end, the horsepower. So if I did that, that's what it would be with this bike too, because we don't ride too up on this one very much either.
Right.
But, beyond that, like I said, it is a 117. Going back to what Leah mentioned earlier, if there ever comes a time, because I've had the bike for 1 year now, I've got 14,000 miles on it. And so, I'm putting the miles on the bike, so I can see a time where the engine's going to wear out before everything else does. I've got a brochure in the file, the thing about that 131. I can't. I look at that. I look at that 131 and say, "Oh my God, wouldn't that be cool?"
Yeah.
And so I can see that someday, but I was still working when I got this bike. And
That's
now,
right.
Now, as far as going out in retirement and whatnot and buying these over and over again, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Because we do have another bike at home, and it's the wife's, and she's, we got to spend some money, to keep that thing afloat too, because she's got about 20,000 miles on hers. And so,
on the trike.
Yeah, on the trike. Mm-hmm. And she rides it to work and whatnot. And so, it's not like we can just pour a bunch of money into this thing, which we have already just by having it. So, as far as the upgrades and whatnot, I can see doing a certain set of it, but not that much.
It's beautiful, though. You guys get to see it. Those that are coming to Sturgis for the patron meetup and all that, he will be there on that beautiful bike. So, what other hobbies? And then we're going to move into Popeye's little adventure here. What are you doing to stay busy? I mean, we got the grandkids and stuff like that, but riding, obviously. It was hard to get you down here because your schedule was so packed. He was busting my balls on text messages.
Yeah.
You want to just power through, or do you want to do one, eat? And then that was the same text I sent you. He goes,
Right.
no, I checked my schedule. I got nothing on my schedule, so we can take a break. I'm
He was giving me shit before we kicked off here. He's like, "Oh, you got to work tomorrow, don't you?" Yeah, I do.
Not that much yet. I've been doing some gun stuff. We got a member of the gun club out there, so I've been.
Are you with that group that's tearing down statues up there?
I was going to
doing
ask
some
you.
of that?
No,
Were you?
no,
Did we
no,
think of that at the same time?
No, I'm working on my guns in case they show up at my house, and so that's what I've been doing is outfitting. I do some hunting in the fall.
Yeah,
and so I've been buying up some equipment and whatnot and trying to re-outfit the scopes on the rifles, and took one of the shotguns I had and re-outfitted it for home defense type thing, and that's
nice.
I like doing that. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm going out to the range there and the riding. I have the grandkids probably 2-3 times a week, or we do. If the wife is working, then I take them and whatnot. And so, like I said, there's always just something to do. I don't have a hobby that locks everything else out, at least not yet.
You're looking for it. We were talking about that at dinner. You can only have so many hobbies. We're talking about Lee and fishing and how much he spends in fishing. You really have to.
Yeah.
A couple hobbies.
Yeah.
You
do.
That's
hobbies.
been me lately. I mean, obviously we say we ride a lot here, but if I'm not on the bike, I'm on the boat and fishing a lot. And I took this week off. We were talking about dinner. Yeah, every day I've been on the boat, either fishing or crabbing.
Back to reality tomorrow.
That's right.
It's always hard the longer you take.
And we do have a pool, and so I spend a lot of time in that. Just me or with the kids, and so just like I said, I'm working out, but mine is affected like everybody else is. The gym shut down and whatnot, but I kept up doing that until they had to slam the door. But I don't like I said, I don't get up and then go transfer to the couch. It doesn't work that way.
It's not like the thumbnail on this episode.
Do I have a complete plan of the day from beginning to end? No. I mean, today, I was before.
Heck, I don't have that. I'm working. I just go by the seat of my pants.
Before Lee came over, I was washing windows.
Yeah.
Some of them were pretty dirty and whatnot, couldn't see through them. So I just grabbed a bucket and whatnot and started washing the windows.
Yeah.
And so, stuff like that. It's, I enjoy it. Like I said, it sounds minuscule.
I got a bunch of windows you can come wash.
Yeah.
No shit.
Minuscule and brainless.
I got a bike you can wash when we're done here.
But the thing about it is some neighbors where I live, there's, off the top of my head, 3 sets of them, retired couples that came to our neighborhood from either over on the west side or somewhere else.
You're pretty close with them, huh?
Swingers?
That had what I'm saying, they had no ties to the area. Okay. They just retired, came, built houses, and there they are.
Okay.
And so, I'm living, just kind of the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
They wanted to get out of the traffic and the weather and whatnot, because who can frickin' blame them?
Yeah.
And I imagine nowadays when you consider what's going on in Seattle and whatnot, they think it's probably the smartest decision they ever make, and I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, they moved to God's country compared to where that comes from.
Well, it is.
For sure. Yeah.
It is now.
Yeah.
I felt it was before, but I'll bet there's a whole lot more people that think about that now than did a couple months ago.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this, and then we'll transition here. We'll rock and roll. Hey, Bikeaholics, you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? We'll talk about here in a minute. Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attach strapless luggage rack systems. This father-son team designed something really special. Can't find anywhere else. I want to talk to you about that real quick before we transition. About you met those guys at the booth, the Rick Rack guys, Sturgis. Yep, these guys ride. They truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack Quick Attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, you'll never go back. Thank you. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Head over to the Law-Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. All right, so real quick, and then we'll transition into Popeye's recent trip. So you've got the Rick Rack system.
I do.
And I had forgot that you got it. And you have it on this biker when you travel.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that. You actually got to meet Shane and his dad, right?
I did.
Which is cool.
I did. I didn't realize, who Shane was in relation to you. But I saw the banner. I saw the banner in there. He's got it hanging in there. And so it just turned out.
The lab banner?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's got our law-abiding biker banner. Yeah, right. Okay.
In there. And so it just happened to be Shane. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And so I just started talking to him. I said,
that's right.
And, I'm a member of the club and this and that. And so I was just talking to him for a while. And he had mentioned that, I talked to you by name before I even said that I knew you. I just said, I know these guys. He said, yeah, we deal with Ryan all the time. It works great. And they happened to we wanted one. We just hadn't pulled the trigger, so to speak, here. And then what Shane was offering that day there at the tent was basically the same. And so that's
awesome.
Just go ahead and throw it on. And so, he was a great guy, very helpful. We weren't ready to go when we bought it, so I'll just set it right here. And then we came back and he unwrapped it and helped us put it on and whatnot. And so, it's a great piece of equipment.
And so that allows you put it on top of your trunk on your regular touring rack.
Yep.
That allows you a whole other trunk basically. So when you're up with the wife, you can put all your gear in one trunk and all her gear in another.
I had it on there even without the wife.
Oh yeah, right.
She had her trike, and so
why not? You have extra room. You don't have to stuff stuff.
Because I don't know about you guys, anybody else, but I suck at packing. I really do.
I pack way too much.
I've got the one side is just full of tools and shit. It's,
right.
And it's heavy against all the written rules.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're all overloaded.
So I've got one that's already spoken for. So I got one side bag and the tour pack.
Yep.
And so the Rick Rack one, we took our helmets back from Sturgis in that one. We have some half helmets that we wear around Sturgis, and so we brought those back in the Rick Rack
along with your rings.
Your half helmet, is that your bandana?
Yeah, no, they're half helmets. They're actual half helmets that we bought there. But one thing I will say that I ended up doing was with the rain cover on those things. I ended up putting a cargo net.
Oh shit! I owe you a cargo net sitting in my house.
No, that's right.
To make sure that they hold on, because the air can get underneath and balloon.
Oh, on the rain cover. Okay.
Yeah. But
I've ran
that's
it
all.
once.
That's all I do. You just put the cargo net. It's good to go. Yeah, because it comes with rain gear, which works really good. And you wrench them on tight enough, and it just kind of. I had to get used to the optical illusion of looking at it, because the wife wasn't riding with me back. So if we're going 75, 80, 85 miles an hour down the, you look back and it's a strain, because it's taking the wind directly.
Right.
And so I got a little antsy about the idea of that, because of all the pressure on the luggage rack and whatnot with it. But
no problems.
None.
Yeah.
No problems.
It's awesome.
So that rain cover holds pretty well if the bag is extended. I have found, if you got enough
stretch
shit
the
in
rain
there,
cover out.
Yeah, the rain cover gets stretched enough and it don't come off.
Gotcha. Good to know. Good pro tip. Yeah. Good pro tip.
Either like a cargo net or a couple of bungees.
Right, just to make sure.
Just to make sure.
I've ran mine without, but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I've never lost it, the rain cover.
Well, I didn't lose it either, but
it just was making you think you're going to lose it, right? So why not have the extra?
I was going to lose it on mine.
The rain cover where you straight up, huh?
When we left from the West Coast meetup for Lab, we're coming back. I had it on the back of mine, and
I never even put mine on.
Yeah, Ray was behind me. He's like, "Oh shit, you're about to lose it!" And he pulled up alongside of us and flagged us down.
There you go. So
but the other thing, we had a serious crosswind. Remember that?
So
it could have been the crosswind was probably
like a weird cross.
Could have been a contributing factor with that.
It's not a bad idea. A couple bungee cords at least, or a cargo net, just to be safe. I never even. I just powered through the rain. I should have, but my stuff was dry. The bags are somewhat waterproof, to a certain extent.
Right.
I mean, if you rode all day, 2 hours, but
here's the thing. It's great for like the street glides and whatnot. and like yours. Mm-hmm. I look at it this way: if I fill up all my bags plus stuff of rickrack, then I'm so screwed at packing. Because those things, they hold a lot.
Oh yeah,
they have an expansion. And then pockets all around and whatnot. And I just put the locking stuff in one of the pockets. Otherwise, it's free.
Yep.
With nothing else in it. So if I stuff one of those things plus all,
you know me, I'm stuffed to the hilt because I have all the stuff you guys carry.
Well,
plus
be
about $5,000 in camera gear.
Yeah.
So I'm just every last bit of space I have. I'm so overloaded. It's ridiculous. Totally not within specs.
Yeah. But I'll be throwing it on a couple weeks.
Heck yeah, it's just a couple weeks.
If nothing else, it's great for all the shit you buy when you're back there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. All your Harley shirts and dealership shirts.
Oh, yeah. Highest of quality.
Highest of quality. Ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already. Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and it's unlike those gel pads that will leak if punctured. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around in your seat, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps to dampen vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our lineup of butt buffer seat cushions. All right, Popeye, let's transition into your little trip that I haven't talked to Popeye at all about this, so I'm actually curious to hear about the details of this little trip and how it came about and what's going on here.
So here a few weeks ago, it was actually kind of funny how it came to fruition because the wife told me, she goes, I'm going to take the kids over to the grandparents' house this next week, and she goes, I'm going to drop them off for like 5 days or the week or whatever it was. I'm like, really? I had no idea. And I'm like, well, shit. I think I'm off that week already. I was already off that week. I'm off next week anyway. And so it was a last minute thing for getting rid of the kids. And I said to her, well, let's go on a ride. So she was all for it. She, a little easier for her to take time off than it is for me because, they have minimums and shit like that they got to work with. So she just took the week off. And we have a couple that we travel with a lot. We were actually laughing because we've done 3 weeks worth of vacation together already this year. Went to Hawaii for 2 weeks with them, and they went on this ride with us for just shy of a week. But so they're good friends of ours, and every year we try to go on usually 3 or 4 day trip with them somewhere and take off and go ride. And so I called him up and I said, hey, dude, I go, I'm heading to Montana on a trip. I go, just me and the wife. I go, if you guys can go, this would be awesome for our summer trip. Like I said, that we like to do them every year. And well, shit, let me see what I can do. And so he was able to get it off too. And so we went with this other couple, Ron and Julie, and so loaded the bikes up and headed from the Wenatchee area. And first stop was Libby, Montana. So took off, rode Highway 2 most of the way. Could have stayed on Highway 2. It's a little longer if you do. I kind of wish I would have because I dropped down to I-90 and then I-90'd it for a bit and then cut up north. It's just across the Idaho border and cut off through Coeur d'Alene, heading north up past Silverwood Theme Park.
Coeur d'Alene, I was just there with the family in the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, such a beautiful area. I love North Idaho.
Yeah, but Sandpoint?
We went to Sandpoint, had lunch in Sandpoint. Okay. So, I mean, it's just crazy, right? You go to these different places and it's just... If you go to the west side of the state for us, we've talked about it before, very liberal, or if you know politics at all, it's very liberal over there. But you go to Idaho or something, and it's just so much different. And God, you get over there and it's like another country right now. It's crazy. People aren't wearing masks or anything, and nobody cares.
They're trying to annex some of Oregon right now.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now they're trying to, but Oregon, some of the areas, the counties down in southeast and whatnot are trying to get over to,
That's hilarious.
Trying to get over into Idaho. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them. Idaho is God's country, man.
I'd love to split the Cascades and then take over Eastern Oregon. We have Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington.
And Idaho, yeah.
Sure, and Idaho too.
Well, we'll pull Idaho in, dude.
They don't want to take us,
though.
No,
I don't blame them.
Screw that. And then, you can have the I-5 corridor on the other side of the hill. But so no, we, from Coeur d'Alene, we bombed north up through Sandpoint. Sandpoint's a beautiful area.
Oh, right on Lake Pend Oreille, right?
Yeah. Is that what it is? Is that the name of that one?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So beautiful area. Went to, it was kind of funny. We went into the first brewery there. We're just going to go in and have lunch and a beer, and we sit down, and we're like, well, shit, Laughing Dog Brewery, and great beer. But we sat down and started looking at the menu. It's like, shit, it's just a brewery. You know, they have like little finger foods and stuff, but we're looking for, you know, a lunch spot. Like, well, shit. And this was another one, like I didn't plan every lunch spot, you know, didn't look ahead for all that. So it was kind of a last minute trip. So we found another brewery, went down there and had a good lunch. And then from Sandpoint, took off north out of Sandpoint and over to Libby, back onto Highway 2 mostly. And that's just some beautiful country.
You're going through all the forest here, National Forest. How do you say it? Kanisksu? Kanisksu?
And this is Forest. A lot of area where we had rode during our Canadian trip, during our Canada trip.
It's true. I was just looking at that.
Yeah, so we just dropped down from the Canadian border.
Right here.
Yeah, it was at 1 there and turns into 95.
Yep.
And then we could jump back onto Highway 2. In fact, I was looking at the gas station. There's one where on the video we're laughing. It says no smoking within 75 feet.
That's
a bunch
right,
of guys driving cigars and stuff. So we went right by that gas station. And,
that's cool. You're recognizing everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
And then all the just along Highway 2. I like watching Mountain Men and one or two of the Mountain Men guys on History Channel.
I've never seen that show.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, they're up in that area, right, going right through there, through like the Yak Valley and whatnot. And so you go kind of right through there. Beautiful country. It's nice in there. Stayed the night in Libby. Libby's a smaller town, not a lot there. We found a nice little, another little brewery to have dinner at, and good food. Stopped there, kind of rode around town a little bit. Shit, they had probably like a high school aged baseball game going on. Everybody's sitting in the stands.
Life is normal.
Yep. Everybody's sitting in the stands watching the baseball game. 2,700 people is the population there in Libya.
Yep.
So, and we got onto some like Forest Service type of roads and went and just kind of explored up in the hills a little bit.
Gravel or paved?
No, paved.
Yeah, straight up paved. Yeah, nothing too sketchy.
No.
Huh?
But just kind of looking around the area, just riding around, checking it out.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, it was great.
Look at the picture here.
It must, and you're right along the river, coming into town. It's just beautiful. So we go to bed that night. It's probably 90, 95 degrees. The other thing was weird.
Got a hot one.
Yeah, the other weird thing is that how light it stays late. Just must be just a little bit further north than us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it has something to do with just northeast or what. I don't know. But it was, 10 o'clock at night, and it was still full blown light. Even lighter than it would be here at 10 o'clock at night at this time of year.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really, and Ron and Julie said the same thing the next morning. They were like, I couldn't believe how late it stayed light, and we were both pretty surprised about it. So out of Libby, so it's about 90, 95 when we go to bed, and I wake up the next morning, it's freaking raining, or it had rain. And it's cooler. It's probably 60 or something. You got to be shitting me. So still just kind of a little bit of light rain going on. We geared up, we put on our rain gear, and then took off. And we went and rode some of, once again, the same area up towards Eureka up there, right up by the border. And I can't remember
what was your destination for that day?
We were headed to Great Falls. So, but go to the lake that's just to the northeast there of Libby, if you would.
Okay.
It's that big long lake. Yep. We rode along that, if you remember.
Yes.
And remember there was just go south a little there, and that'll give us the name of it probably. Hopefully,
I'm trying to expand enough for it to pop up the name. Yeah. It's weird. You got to do different,
right,
to get it to come up.
What highway did that say it was, Ryan?
It is,
because if you guys ever get in this, it was 17.
It's through Eureka here and stuff.
Drop it down.
95?
37.
Oh, 37. Oh, yeah.
So
sorry.
it's that long lake, 37 north. Yeah, it's out of the Libby area, and it'll drop you up into Eureka.
Yep.
And so you're getting real close to the border up there. And I say the map ain't bringing up the name of that lake, but
I know because we rode right by it. Right?
Yeah, we rode through there. We rode through. Exactly. We were on this. That's the way we came into Whitefish several years ago.
That's right. I know this lake too.
And remember, it had the pavement.
It's not Okanagan. No. I don't.
There you go.
Lake.
Kukanusa?
I'm going to get my glasses
on
like here.
Kukanusa.
Can you see that, Jeff?
Yeah, Kukanusa.
Lake Kukanusa. So it absolute beautiful ride. It's got like I was hesitant on taking it because I will warn that like I got a kind of a messed up lower back.
Yeah. You and I both.
It kind of, it's got like every 50 yards or something. Yeah. And it sits there and bounces you. And I remember when we went through there to Whitefish, I was like, fuck, I hope this road gets smoother here pretty soon. So like I said, I knew it was going to be like that. I just bit the bullet and went that way because it is so beautiful. There are no trucks. I think that's about 70 miles once you turn off at the southern end of that lake and start heading north on 37 up to Eureka. About 70 miles, if I remember right. I'll bet you we passed 10 cars going the opposite direction.
Is that right?
That's it. I mean, there's just nothing out there. Absolutely great. So we get up to...
It's elevated above the road, above the lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're looking down on the lake.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, we all kind of... I think me and you did like a quick U-turn. We stopped and took a piss break or something at one point there along that lake.
Yep.
I drugged this. This is probably more your route, close to it, yeah.
Where are you at there?
Eureka's right up here.
Yes.
I mean, generally, but yeah.
It's generally. So we stopped in Eureka. So we're only about an hour, I guess, into the morning, maybe something like that. We stopped in Eureka and we're at a gas station. Went in to go to the bathroom and just get, something to drink real quick. And I come back out and we're bullshit. And I look at my buddy's tire. And I'm like, Jesus, Ron. I go, you need to get a new tire pretty quick. The center of it's getting worn out, getting worn down to the tread. And I look at it because there's some color on there. I go, holy fuck, dude. I go, you need to get a new tire now.
Belts?
Yes.
I did that. Yeah.
Cords are coming through. I'm like, and so he's telling me, no, I call bullshit, but he says that tire only had a few thousand miles on it. Should never have been worn out. He's like, I just put that tire on there not too long ago. I just think he doesn't remember when he put it on.
He didn't actually document it like I do. Exactly. I document it because I'll do that. Yeah.
Lost track of how much time, had it been on there and just put more miles on it than what he thought. It did have a weird wear pattern. Now, I know, like, depending on what side of the road you ride on more, it will wear more onto that side because the road can't. But on the left side of his bike, so on the kickstand side, that's where it was totally worn in. So on the low side of his bike, that's the other side, the right side, wasn't nearly as bad. So he's getting some weird wear going on there as well. So I don't know what was up with that. So from Eureka, I'm like, dude, I go... Where you got nothing out here? There ain't shit. And so I'm telling him, like, you need to start making phone calls because I'm like, dude, the next stop has got to be a tire place. And I said, if we need to go straight to Great Falls, I mean, as a crow flies that day was, I don't remember how, it was, a couple 100 miles. It's not like it was
the whole day from Libya is 5 hours and 17 minutes. Well, if this is the exact route.
That's not.
Yeah, okay.
That is not quite. Well, damn. Well, go scroll over to the east.
Did you go to Kalispell? Kalispell has one.
So it's not quite that route, I don't think. So we started making phone calls, and Kalispell Harley Davidson could not get us in. They said,
where's that at?
Kalispell.
In Kalispell.
Kalispell. It's just south of Whitefish there.
Gotcha, okay.
So
even though you were on the road?
Yep. Called him, he said, hey, I'm on the road. Yep, trying to get in. He said, I got several other guys in front of you. He says they're having issues, whatever their issues were, he says they need to get into it. He goes, so if I put you in front of them, he says basically they're going to shit. He goes,
they're the only game there.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, I could probably get you in tomorrow. But he goes, I can't even guarantee that. I'm like, holy fuck. So I'm like, call some other motorcycle places. I find around, there'll be some independent dealers and stuff, and hopefully one of them has it. And then we even asked Harley, who said, hey, if we can find a independent, will you give us the tires and then we can take it to them to put them on?
Can we at least just buy the tire from you? Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we can do that. So he actually ended up calling up a Yamaha shop. It was almost positive it was Yamaha.
Anybody with a tire machine can do this. It's not,
And it was literally 3 blocks from the Harley Davidson dealership. Same road, right next to each other almost. And they're like, yeah, we got the tires here. Bring it on in. So he's like, I'm on the way from Eureka. I'll be there, in an hour or whatever the hell it was. We get there and they're literally waiting for us. He rolls in. They're pretty much rolling up the door. Come on in. It's a decent sized dealership for Kalispell. It's just as big as the Harley dealership, but rolled him in. And then I went to check. I was trying to find my wife a new helmet. So we bounced over to Harley, bounced across. There's like a Honda shop there. Went and checked that out. And come back over. He's just kind of wrapping up the paperwork and shit like that with him as far as, figuring out what he's going to need. So let's go to lunch. He said, well, they said it wouldn't be that long. Well, fuck, who cares how long it's going to be? Even if it's a half an hour, we can get lunch.
Let's not kill time or let waste time. Let's go get lunch while we're at it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cold beer.
Yep. And that's what we did. Went and had lunch, cold beer and stuff. And then they called them while we were having lunch and they go, hey, you need new rear brakes too.
Oh no!
So
Are you
you're about damn
serious?
near, you're damn near down to metal. He said, like, fuck. He goes,
Inspect
put 'em
your
on.
bike before you go on long trips, people.
No shit,
Lesson
right?
here. Yeah.
So, I think he was either a $700 or $800 bill. Later he walked out of there.
Hey, at least they had the brake pads, which are pretty universal. But yeah.
And you got to do the brake. I mean, he couldn't win any further on that tire. I mean, that tire would have blown.
No, yeah, and at least you only had to go that far. That's
Yep.
even dangerous. Once your belt show, ooh man, you get off that thing.
Exactly. And riding 2-up because he has his wife on the back with all the luggage and stuff. That's just
scary.
bad. And we're doing 70 miles an hour because fuck I was even trying. I mean, you know how I ride. I don't usually go under the speed limit, and
Yep.
And I was riding 5 to 10 under a little bit if there's nobody behind us, just trying to get
Yep.
speeds down a little bit. And the nice thing too is, like I had said at the beginning of this, we had a little bit of rain that day. So it wasn't the 95 degrees, so the roads were wet. We had a little sprinkle coming down, keeping that tire cool,
Yep.
So that was another big help. So
We just looked at our tires, Matt and I, last weekend when we were over here. It's a good reminder. I just wanted to look like, am I in the range of where I'm going to make the Sturgis trip, and I'm looking good. But yeah, you
I've got to have a back.
gotta do that.
I've got to have a back tire.
Gotta
I'm
do
at
that.
10,000 on my
Brakes,
rear. I
check
figure I'll
your
have
brakes.
plenty.
I've got
Yeah.
I've got 14 on it.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's freaking awesome.
it is.
Yeah. So good on you. Yeah.
Mine looks really good. Like I said, I got 10,000. I'm gonna have to do an oil change here before Sturgis.
Yeah.
Because I'll be at my 10,000. Under warranty, you got to do it every 5,000. Otherwise, with AMSOIL, I just change it every 10,000 miles.
Right. You just go by exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, because like I said, 5,000 with the warranty. So I'm gonna have to do one here in the next week. Of course, do it myself. Watching a lab video, right?
And a boy getting prepped.
That's right.
Yep.
So we took off back out of Kalispell and we headed towards.
Never been there.
Never been there?
I don't
Is
think
it?
so.
No,
On any of our
would've-
trips.
No, we would have cut back up north. When we took off out of Whitefish, we headed up
Yep.
to Glacier.
Yep.
So what I ended up doing, I guess that is actually the route that I took, Ryan.
Okay.
So I take off towards West Glacier. I had looked at their website before, and when we came into Glacier, there's signage there that says going to the Sun Road is closed at the north end of Lake McDonald, 14 miles in.
Really?
COVID shit.
National parks are closed because of COVID?
No. The Indians, I believe it's the Blackfoot tribe that is there.
Right. It is. I'm almost positive.
So
yeah.
the east entrances at Glacier are on Blackfoot land.
Okay.
And they basically said, hey, you fuckers have given us one pandemic before. We don't need another one from you. And they closed down the fucking their entrances. Yeah. So
even though it's a national park, crazy.
yeah. So they're like, yeah, you're not using our land to come through. So yeah, they didn't want to play that game again.
Dang, man.
So yeah, even like when you stop in or when you're going through the reservation, there's signage all over the fucking place that says lands are closed for recreation. Basically, stay the fuck off our property.
Wow.
Keep moving, white man.
You're right. Keep on moving.
Yeah, and so the gas stations there, where everywhere else in Montana is pretty much wide open. Gas stations, wear a mask. Do not come inside without a mask. You'll be kicked out. All kinds of shit like that. And the towns that are near the east entrances they're boarded up. There ain't shit going on because nobody's there. So all the hotels are closed. Everything's closed off. So we get into Glacier. I'm like, well, fuck, we're already here. I may as well ride in a bit, right? So we rode up to where they had the road shut off, turned around, and of course, Ron and Julie and my wife I've ridden Glacier like 4 times now.
You're right.
Edry's never been through it. Wife's never even been through freaking
Oh,
Glacier.
dang.
And so she thought, she's going to go up and go into the Sun Road. And they're thinking, oh, this is beautiful. This is really awesome. I'm like, guys, we didn't get to the good shit.
Right.
Like, you're just down here in the trees still. I'm like, this ain't nothing. You remember like when you went in, you start out and you kind of go by the lakes. And
It's beautiful. And you're like, this is awesome. And then it gets even awesomer.
Yeah. Then you get up, the trees clear out, and you get up into that high stuff, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So we turned back around and went back out and to the entrance, and I'm sitting there like, well, guys, we need to figure out how the fuck to reroute this thing to get over to Great Falls, because when I ride planned it, I was going all the way through, ended up over in St. Mary, and then St. Mary back down.
You were going up here through National and then ended up in St. Mary and then popping back down, right?
Exactly. So I had to figure out how the hell to go around. So it was pretty easy. I looked at a map, figured it out that we could take Highway 2. and looked at a few more of the scenic ones. We actually had a picture of. Did you ever get a Rand McNally? I know you had put one on order.
It's up on the shelf there, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd had a picture of the Rand McNally of Montana where we were going. We're at it marked.
Nice.
And so I just pulled that back out and found,
just on your phone. You took a picture, yeah. And that's a good
found the
idea.
most scenic. Actually, I didn't. Julie did.
Okay.
But,
Credit.
But found like the most scenic areas. So went up Highway 2, which skirts the park. And then you end up cutting back in. Where are you going there?
I don't know.
So you got Highway 2.
Zooming.
Go to the east, and then so you drop out all the trees and stuff, and all of a sudden you end up in the high plains. So you hit Highway 2 turns into 89, and then you're up in high plains up there, and it was windy as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, you're riding sideways. It was super freaking windy. And then we were able to jump on just a couple other ones that said they were scenic. So we got off. I managed to stay off of the interstates and just rode single lane stuff. Hardly anybody out there. Pulled in a couple, one small town. There's we were ready to get off. Basically, I went tank to tank and let's get off and have a beer. And that was kind of fun. Get off in small town America. There's Grange elevators and stuff all over and get off. And God, it was like we were in Cheers. We walk in, and everybody's friendly as fuck to us, and talking to us about all kinds of stuff.
COVID, what's that?
Yeah.
And
Right?
watch the news. They're like, huh? Oh, there's a pandemic?
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So we went down Great Falls, and for the night was final destination. Stayed in Great Falls for the night, and then ended up getting up and basically took some other one-lane roads, absolutely beautiful scenery, back up and stayed in Whitefish.
So you went to Great Falls, stayed the night here, and then where'd you go?
From there, we went up to Whitefish.
Whitefish, okay.
Yeah. So, and then I just took, it's basically, you can see that Sealy Lake.
Because you went back here. This
yes,
is Whitefish.
so I went south though. So I went back up towards Vaughn, right where your deal is there, and like Lincoln, where whatever road that is, that Lincoln's on that.
15.
Nope, not 15. I stayed the hell away from that
Okay,
road.
yeah.
200.
200, yep.
So 200, and that skirts, it's all, like I said, single lane stuff.
Okay.
Going through small town America, a lot of those places, you avoid a lot of the truck traffic and
Lincoln,
whatnot.
yeah.
And then from there, I cut up at where that Sealy Lake is.
Yep.
I cut up that road, whatever the hell that is.
My class is 83,
Yeah, through Condon. Beautiful area up there. We started running a few more RVs and shit like that going through there. But then up to Whitefish.
Whitefish was a fun place.
Yeah. We didn't have quite as much fun in Whitefish, but,
You remember, don't you?
but I was telling stories about when the last time we were there. I was telling the wife and her friends about
We
Whitefish.
made our mark in Whitefish.
Yeah, and Sturgis going, I told my wife I wasn't going to do this.
That's right.
Yes, he's honest.
And I did.
That's right.
So, but stayed in Whitefish, found, a couple good brewery spots there in Whitefish, bounced around like that 3-level bar that we were
That's
at.
the one I'm thinking right now
Yeah.
with the fireplaces up top. Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, took
either.
everybody up there and hung out up there and had dinner and stuff. And then we were staying at a lodge that was just right outside of town. Absolutely beautiful. They had a pool and a hot tub. And it was open. You just had to check in. You had to give them your room number so they didn't have it too packed.
Right.
And so they just gave out a certain number of keys because all this COVID shit, right? But we just had a couple cocktails that we took down to the pool. And they had, before that, they had balconies that you could just sit out and, man, it just overlooked all the mountains and stuff. So we were just sitting out, bullshit and having a cocktail. Hey, let's go down to the hot tub. And so this is actually pretty funny. I went down to the front desk and I asked him, hey, what's the deal with, how do you get in the pool, the hot tub and whatnot? And you just got to tell us, come down here and just give us your room key and stuff. And if it's open, you can just go right in. So I come back up and tell everybody, they said, we got to go now. It closes at 8:00. Just to speed everybody along a little quicker, right?
Seriously. Oh, that's awesome.
So we went down, had a couple cocktails in the hot tub that night. And then they had a fire pit. Went and sat down there, had another drink or whatever around the fire pit later in the night, and just kind of hung out and bullshitted for the night. And then next morning got up and after breakfast, Whitefish home.
There.
You can be
Because I want to finish your day, but we got to do this real quick. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? 030 has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. 030's got your back. With chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation that equals less time installing, more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them. Sales at zero3d.com. Give them a call. 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged. Bikeaholics. So check out Zero 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Gold Wings. For all you Gold Wingers, better yet, support us. Head right over to the law-abiding biker store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. All right, so we're on your day where you're leaving Whitefish, heading back home. Now, this was your first time rocking the Rick Rack system?
It was, yeah.
Was that your wife's bag? Is that what you did? Is that how you did it? Like you...
Oh, sold it to her that I was going to get in a Rick Rack? So
no, I mean, because she went with you on this trip. Like, was that for her stuff and then your stuff was somewhere else, or was
No,
both?
I basically, what I did is I just packed light. If I'm by myself, I always pack way too much.
Right, because you got...
we're all saying earlier.
I still got room.
Yeah, because it's all your space, right? Yeah. But I knew she would be packing more than I would. So I basically, it was going to be only a 4-day trip. I threw in, a pair or two of riding jeans, because generally what I'll do is I'll just wear the same pair of jeans for a couple, 3 days or something.
Yep.
And then
I got
right. And then, I got a pair of going out jeans for when we got there, and you just, that way you're not all sweaty in the jeans that you go out in, right? And you got your fresh
Take a
jeans.
shower, you feel fresh, yeah.
And so I just packed all my shit, and then I told the wife, I said, you can, whatever room's left, that's what you got, because which gave her probably 2/3 of the bag or something. But
you're right.
And the fucking thing got filled up between my stuff and hers.
I bet it did.
Yeah. And then I ended up having to use the extensions on the Rick Rack bag,
unzipping it, billows, or whatever you call it.
Made it a little higher, a little taller. So, and then once she figured that out, because once I packed everything in there and I left it unzipped, and then she figured out it unzipped. I'm like, oh shit, we better put some more stuff in here. So,
of course.
Yeah. And, it's tough too, because I'll bring my heated coat, and that takes up less room than, if you pack a bunch of extra sweatshirts or something like that to stay warm, so you can wear a little less with a heated coat. And then, you put on all your frickin' leathers and whatnot shit with two of you bringing leathers, then, that's... And rain gear.
Your saddlebags, yeah.
They're basically your saddlebags right there are full of leathers and rain gear.
Tools, a leather, a coat, and they're just stuffed.
Yeah, you're filled up. Extra pair of shoes, so you're not you got something else or flip-flops or over the hill, and God, your saddlebags are stuffed.
Yeah.
So, the Rick Rack was great. Bill put it on there and then just pop it off, quickly and be into your hotel. It was great. No issues with it.
Glad you're getting use out of that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep, 1,500 miles with that one on the first trip. So I liked it, and they'll be going to Sturgis with me here in a few weeks.
Yeah, buddy. Start packing that baby up.
Yep.
All right, after Sturgis Jeff washes my dirty bike out there.
That's right.
You got nothing but time on your hands. Don't tell me your shit.
How long since you washed it?
Whenever we went on that June trip. Yeah. Haven't touched it because it's so nasty dirty. I've ridden it a few times since then downtown and stuff, but I just had literally...
Do you wash it on the lift?
No. I pull it out on the pad here and wash it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Need to do that.
Yeah, shit. Mine was definitely dirty, but like I was saying earlier, I've been fishing so much that I haven't really been riding the last several weeks at all.
Right.
I've been on the boat, so.
Yeah, and I can pull out the bar hopper. I ran up the canyon a few times with that, but I'll probably at least wash it down with some bike bright before. That's it. I'm not going to really polish it, just enough to take the grime off so I feel better about leaving for the trip, but it ain't going to be pretty either way. It's not going to be real great, so... Yeah, so last day of the trip.
Last day of the trip was I literally threw it into Google. It was just the quickest way back because I'm thinking it's going to be
because you had no pre-plan then.
No, not
all.
On that one.
Okay,
no.
On the day back. Okay.
That, and the other thing is I had to be back, and so it's just kind of the quickest way back type of thing from frickin' Whitefish, Montana. But it's only 7 hours. You can be from my house to Whitefish, Montana in 7 hours. I was pretty surprised about that.
Yeah, that is crazy. You're up north though.
And I had to I-90 it from, you drop down right around the Idaho-Montana border into I-90. But even then, that stretch of I-90 is pretty beautiful. I mean, you're up in the mountains and curvy. You got a lot of truck traffic because it's I-90. I-90, for those listening, it's a major interstate road east-west. Goes all the way from Seattle to the East Coast, I guess.
Yeah,
huh?
we've hit this section
Boston.
quite a few times because we always end up a lot of times going through Coeur d'Alene, then Spokane on some trips we've taken in the past. Like our Canada trip, I think we ended up on our last day.
Yeah,
because we stopped in Coeur d'Alene and ate. If I remember right, yeah.
But the ride down through, I diverted the trip a little bit coming down. I believe, other than what Google did, because I was like, let's go this way.
Tweaked her a little bit.
I think I'd moved a little bit. Anyway. Going like along Flathead Lake, and then you bump off of a couple other roads away from Flathead Lake heading towards I-90. Some of the most gorgeous scenery of the trip.
Really?
And like I said, it was just whatever was plugged in by Google, the quickest way to get there. Absolute beautiful area and hardly any traffic.
Yep.
Yeah, it was amazing through there. I mean, just some beautiful stuff. But then it was just I-90 home, and like the wife had said, by the time we hit Spokane, it's stuff you've already seen, and it's 2 lanes
Throttled
of traffic.
down.
We're just throttled down. She's like, yeah, by the time we got to Spokane, I was ready to be back. Because it's hot, and, you've seen it. Like I said, it's truck traffic. And so, great trip. I mean, like 6 hours, 59 minutes, it says.
Yeah,
so.
you're right. Kind of a throw-together trip.
Yeah, it was great, though.
It's kind of fun. Sounds relaxing.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
Not huge, long days, so you could relax, have some time to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, especially with the girls on the back, I try to keep it to basically about 7 hours of saddle time.
Okay.
Try not to go too much for them. And, by the time, a lot of times when we have 7-hour days, you just know that you're looking at probably 9 to 10 hours, by the time you get done with lunch and all that shit. But it's nice to get into town a little bit earlier, to explore, just hang out and have dinner and a cocktail or something like that.
So I'm looking forward to Sturgis for, because a lot of our trips, we're trying now, we're getting better at trying to have one free day just to take a breather. But Sturgis, we have a couple days where we can just run into Badlands or run over to Rushmore. I like this because it gives you a little bit of time to breathe and actually feel like you're on vacation a little bit. I mean, I love it either way, but when you're just pounding, like our Midwest trip, which we had to do it but man, just pound, in late, 4 hours of sleep, breakfast, it gets.
That's even the girls are saying, they go, man, the day goes super fast, but like it'd be nice to be able to go somewhere, and hang out. And I'm like, well, you can. And we definitely can on another trip. I go, you're just not going to be able to see as, many areas. What do you want to do?
You're not going to reach out as far. Yeah.
Because I was looking at going like even down on this trip, going down to Jackson or something like that. And I was going to take them down there and head down, but I'm like, well, shit, a 5-day trip would be better for that. Cause I was looking at just throttling down for the first day.
Yeah.
And I just, I got to make it fun for them to where it's not, we're not doing 600 miles.
Correct.
In 11 hours in the saddle.
From here to Jackson, if I remember right. Yeah, it's like a 12, 14-hour day or something like that. Yeah.
So
if you power through.
Next year, we're talking about maybe trying to take a little bit more time and heading down, doing like Yellowstone thing and the Tetons and something like that, going, through Jackson and whatnot. Cause that's always a fun area. And that's just beautiful.
Jackson never gets old.
That. No.
The Grand Tetons in Jackson never get old.
No. Yep. So that was a great ride.
Good. You got any input on this here, Sturgis?
I've been on some of the roads he's talking about.
Yeah.
And so it's Montana.
I know.
I mean, especially Western Montana. I mean, I rode the Sturgis once on the Great Northern, which was Highway 2 all the way across.
Oh, really?
To Williston, yeah.
How was that?
It was great. Well, I'd been on it several times before because I'm from North Dakota originally, so we used to take Highway 2. But then again, my dad was driving, so I just sightsee. Well, it was from the back of a car,
Right.
But to ride it, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And so, I came up, we rode over, down along Lake Ponderay and hit 200 over to Flathead Lake. And those back roads are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. Western Montana is...
I need to ride more of it.
Is really...
Because you guys
really,
can take
really
2 right out. I forget that 2 goes that deep into Montana. I think
all the way across.
Yeah, it goes all the way across, and I forget that.
Yeah, it does. Well,
that it does, yeah.
So, you hit a lot of the flatland that it's famous for, but...
Right.
But it wasn't that bad. And actually, when you get into eastern Montana, it starts to, take on more of a... Well, actually, it's got the Badlands there and the Roosevelt that are just down below that. So you can see shades of that as you go along Highway 2 when you get into eastern Montana.
Yeah.
Over in North Dakota to Williston. Because from Williston, you shoot right down to Roosevelt Park, which is Badlands.
Okay.
And so
that makes sense all the way over here.
Yeah, it's all really, really, really pretty.
Good. Plenty of room to ride there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montana, just like they did, Lee and Company. 4 or 5 day trip. You just hit all kinds of neat stuff in there.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Towns.
It really is.
Basically every other weekend I get 3 days off. And I was telling the wife, I go, boy, when the kids are older where we can just bomb out, like take a 3-day weekend and ride over to a place like Whitefish.
Absolutely.
Stay the night, maybe even 2 nights and turn around and ride back. It's only 7 hours on the bike and she loves being in the back. So, you can get anywhere in Montana and just, from, like I said, from home, 6-7 hours and you can be pretty deep into Montana and out in the middle of nowhere. So I think as the kids get older, we'll try to do more of that type of thing.
Pop down to Coeur d'Alene, stay a night there.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are roads you want to do again.
Yeah.
I just want to just go back.
Yeah. I got to do that. one. Awesome, guys. Let's, with that, no better time. That was a great move right into the outro here, guys. Thanks for both of you for coming down. Always an enjoyable time for spitting 2 podcasts with me here. So going to be a beautiful ride back for you.
Yeah. A little cooler and on the way here.
It's going to be, you're going to be like, that relief of the cool air. Yeah. Ride safe. You guys going to go 2 or the pass or go around? Oh, you are going to be careful of deer. I know you will. I don't have to tell you guys.
Blow it, is that what you said?
Is that what we talked about?
I don't know.
Isn't that what we talked about?
Either are.
Deer. That's the only thing you got to watch out for.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right. You've been.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Lee had a close call one time when he came down here for a podcast.
That's right.
You texted me. I was like, oh, dude. Whew. Yeah, you're experienced riders.
Wasn't a close call. I hit the fucking thing.
That's right. You actually did. Yeah. You didn't go down, though.
That's true.
Right, yeah. That was the key, man. That was the key. All right, guys, don't forget, before you head out, talking about long rides and stuff, we all carry this, and we've used it a lot in some of our documentary films. In fact, that is Cruise Tools. We have it for Harley. We also have it for Indian. We have specific kits in our store. Pick the one that's right for your ride, but it's the Cruise Tools. For Harley, it's the RTH3. I forget what the Indian one is. But don't get stranded over a small repair, so you have to call a tow truck or something like that. Get hooked up with the Cruise Tools. This quality-made toolkit has everything you need for a roadside emergency repair. Rolls up, takes up very little room. Tested and used, guaranteed. Right here, we have used it by the law-abiding biker crew. Yep, has our stamp of approval. Get it already. That's the Cruise Tool for Harley RTH3, and then, of course, the Indian one. We brought it right to our store just for you. Big Daddy has trouble even keeping those things in stock, and literally nothing but 5-star reviews up in the store. Check them out. Guys are loving that thing, and I will definitely, it's always in my saddlebag, regardless if I'm in town or long trips. It just stays in there. All right, there you go, guys. If you're not a patron member, if you can't donate, of course, we get it. Everybody's in a different spot, but if you want to support us, there's some easy ways by simply rating the podcast in such places as iTunes, lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes, or whatever other platform you're listening on, whether it's Stitcher Radio. I know a lot of you can listen in Spotify now and all those. Wherever you are, leave us a great review. We would appreciate it. It assures more bikers around the world can find us and join this thing we call the Biker Revolution. Thanks, guys.
You betcha.